Hi, and welcome to another video tutorial from mjaro.com, OS platforms. In this tutorial, what we're going to do today, we're going to configure our forward and reverse lookup zones. We're going to test our lookup zones and install a web server from the ISS 7 web server actually, and we're going to access that web server from our client computer. Now this will be our client computer, and I'm bringing on my virtual server, which is server 2K8. What we're going to do, I've already added my roles, which are the Active Directory Domain Services, the DHCP server, and my DNS. What I'm going to do now is configure DNS. So I'm going to configure my forward lookup zone. I'm going to use the wizard. I'm going to right click and go into new zone. I'm going to go through this with the wizard. Now the primary zone is a read and write copy of the authoritative zone, which is the sole server responsible for DNS, and the secondary zone is actually takes a copy of the primary zone enter record, and the stub zone is actually where the clients requesting external sites. And what I can do is actually tell the clients, hey, go to this server who is the authoritative zone, the authoritative server for those zone. So I'm actually taking off the load off of my server. So I'm going to go with my primary zone selected, and I'm going to store this in the Active Directory, which is a more effective way. Now what I'm going to do is to send all the DNS servers running on my domain controller, and I'm going to create a forward lookup zone. As you can see, forward lookup zones translate DNS names into IP addresses. Right, I'm going to call my zone name jaro.com. And I'm going to allow only secure dynamic updates and finish. And that was simple for the forward lookup zone. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to immediately do my reverse lookup zone also. So I'm going to go with the primary zone, same to all DNS servers in domain, and I'm now going to select reverse lookup zone, and I'm going to use my IP version 4 reverse lookup zone. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get the network segment of my IP address, which my IP address schema is 192.168.1. Or I could actually type in the reverse lookup zone name, but why would I do that? I'm just going to maintain my 192.168.1, which is much simple. I'm only going to allow secure dynamic updates, and that's it. Now I'm going back to my reverse lookup zone. So here you see we created the zone jaro.com, and here we have the server. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to attach a record by right clicking. Let me show you that again. I'm just going to right click and create a new host at a record, and I'm going to call that Marcus PC. Right, and I'm going to attach the IP address of this computer, and I'm going to let this create an associated pointer record for me. And here my host record has been created. What I want to do now is go to my reverse lookup zone, and here you saw that it was replicated. Now in the event that sometimes it don't show up one time, all you have to do is refresh or reload. Okay, so now to ensure that this is communicating, we have to ensure that it is communicating with our domain. Our 192 is communicating with our client. I'm going to ping from my client. I'm going to ping the 192.168.1.20. Sorry. I'm going to ping it. And here we have a reply. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to do a reverse ping, reverse lookup zone ping. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use /a hyphen a, and here you see that the difference in it is that I'm now pinging, and it brought up the name of the server, so it shows that it did translate into DNS server 2K8, as I just did a ping from 192.168 without the reverse lookup. Now the reverse lookup returned the name of the IP address. Okay, and now I'm going to ping from my server and I'm going straight to do a reverse lookup ping -8 -A of 192.168.1.100, and there you saw as I attach Marcus PC. Here you see Marcus PC on the Jaro.com site. So we have communication. The next thing I'm going to do now, so we completed configuring forward and lookup reverse zone, and we test the lookup zones. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to install the web server ISS 7. So what we're going to do, we're going back to rules, add a rule, and what we're looking for is the web server, and we're going to install. Now this might take a little while to install. We're going to leave the defaults. It might take a little while to install. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the installation, and I'll get back to you when it's finished. Okay, so my installation has been successful. I'm going to close this, and I'm now going to my web server. For those who are having problems with and may not be able to get to ping one another, each host and client, just check through with your firewall and make sure that you allow create exceptions. More than likely the ping occurs on UDP port 32, so you can allow port 32 through your firewall if you don't want to take off your firewall. So now what you're going to do now is the web server. Right, so this is our web server here, server 2008 R2, and we're going to sites. Now our default website. Now what we can do, we can explore our default website. This is the folder here that our website will be in. Now in order to see if this site is reachable, what I'm going to do is go to my client computer. I'm going to open our web browser, and I'm going to browse. I'm going to contact that web server via their reverse lookup, which I'm going to use their name. And from the last time we recall, the name of that was server 2K8. Okay, so let's try browsing that from contacting that server from its DNS address. HTTP // and it is server 2K8 . And there you can see that we actually got into our web server, and it is operational and functional. Let's do it now with the IP address of 192.168.1.20, and it is the same thing. Now to ensure that it is live and that is current right now, what we're going to do, let's go back to our server and let's modify this page. Let's do a little edit in it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just change what I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to just edit the HTML file. So I'm going to just change the name, and let's put it as IIS 7 OS platform as our title. And let's go into the body. Let's just say to the body, welcome to OS platform, everyone. I will save that, and let's run it again. Let's refresh. So you see, welcome to OS platform, everyone. So that means our server is actually live. So that's all for covering. So we install the web server ISS 7, and we access the web server from our client computer. So that's all thus far. So thanks for viewing OS platform, enabling reverse DNS lookup and forward lookup zones, ISS 7 installation, and adding the role of a web server. Thank you. From mjaro.com and OS platform.